What is going on, movie lovers, and welcome back to the 5 on It podcast. I am Francisco.
And I'm Sir Frazier.
On today's episode, with the Odyssey sweeping the theater and making $1 billion and getting all that money and high acclaim, we decided to review a movie that's kind of the prequel to Odyssey in a way. Today we are reviewing the 2004 Troy. But Sir Frazier, you want to tell the people about Troy?
Man, this movie dropped in 2004. It was directed by Wolfgang Petersen, written by David Benioff, who many of you Game of Thrones fans will recognize. He was at the helm of that amazing TV series, Game of Thrones. We've also got Brad Pitt, Eric Bana, Orlando Bloom, Diane Kruger, Brian Cox, and Sean Bean, to name a few. As well as, I'd be remiss not to mention Rose Byrne as well. Man, you know what's so interesting, and we obviously, this movie was fresh in my eyes, but this is a movie that, so just for the fans, this was a movie that I suggested because coming out of the theater of the Odyssey, I was really, as much as I enjoyed that movie, it was a bummer for me that Achilles wasn't a part of that story in the flashbacks, or even when Odysseus went to Hades, to the shores of Hades. And I was thinking about the last time I saw him on the screen, which was Brad Pitt as Achilles in Troy. And I was like, we got to go back and rewatch this movie because I have loved this movie for a long time. I hadn't seen it in years. It's a really, really fun, well executed for me, just epic war drama. But it's also is just filled with action. And what was really interesting in doing some background reading is that before Petersen came to the helm of this project, there were a few directors that they were considering, and one of those was Christopher Nolan. So at the time, Petersen was, I guess he was supposedly involved with a Batman versus Superman project. And it was supposed to be, so dig this, I read that the screenwriter for that story was originally going to be the same writer of Seven, the screenplay Seven.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be like a little bit darker, right? It's going to be like a little bit more grittier, but they ended up taking that out from under him, and he ended up directing Troy.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like almost like a consolation prize, according to some of the sources that I read, is that giving Nolan Batman was kind of like a consolation prize for him not being able to do Troy.
That's a pretty good constellation prize,
consolation prize, but it's just like also just kind of amazing. Like he clearly was fascinated by this period of drama and just like the war and, the Iliad, the Odyssey. And because Troy takes place during the Iliad. But yeah, it's just interesting to see, like, damn, what could have been, and just again, like, just the conversations that are happening behind the screens, behind the scenes rather, and how things all unfold. It was really, really, really cool reading about their background.
Well, Christopher Nolan, obviously with Odyssey, he eventually got his hands on a part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Which if you're comparing the two movies obviously the Odyssey is probably taking the cake in that in that aspect, but it probably is maybe a little bit more of the interesting part of the story, just because you're just following so many like different type of like just mythical creatures and beings, and so like it probably just has a little bit more appeal to like the masses when that's like a feature film.
Well, I think. Given that, even though that's true, I think when I was reading about some of the earlier scripts, they really sought to downplay the role of the gods in this movie because they wanted it to be focused on the human drama, the human component of like the war. Because this movie compressed like what was it, like damn near 10? I think it was like around a 10-year war into what? Not even a month, 2 weeks. But I think one of the things that this movie really succeeds at for me is the storylines of both Hector and Achilles. I think the fight sequences and the camera work in these scenes is really impressive. It really works for me. I feel very invested in both of these characters, as well as like seeing like the arc of Achilles, especially after Boreas.
I think that's how you pronounce it. Something like that.
Enters the story. I think the fight sequences, dude, look so great. I mean, them storming the beach of Troy, it looks it's a badass scene when they sack the first time he and Hector meet. Another highlight for me. I think these two really are the workhorses of this story. And that I think could be a fair knock for some. It doesn't take away from my enjoying this movie, but I think they are the focal point.
Oh
I
yeah,
think this and the action sequences is where this movie really excels, as well as like the set design, which is very impressive.
Yeah, and I think they got nominated for costume design at the Oscars, and like the costumes like look fantastic. Fantastic, except for like, bro, what did they have Pitt wearing, Achilles? Especially when he's fighting even the young actor Garrett Hundley, I think that's his name, Garrett Hedlund.
At the beginning?
Yeah, when he's like training with his cousin.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, what does he have Brad wearing right now? Just like the obviously this is way back in the BC times and all that type of stuff. I get it, some of it, but also it just looked like some blouses that they threw on these characters. Other than like just some questionable designs, the costumes look fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
The set design looks great.
They actually built a model. They built Troy. They actually assembled that. I think it was in Malta, but they shot in multiple locations, like including I think Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, like they actually built that city, and as well as the temples. They actually brought in people to construct it, so they had more of a because they didn't want to lean on CGI as much.
I feel like I wonder if they constructed like some of like even like the boats as well. Just
some of them for sure, I think.
Like which like certain like the camera shots where they show them on like the ocean heading out to start like to start the battle, or like when they're showing the boats on the beach, or even when they're showing like the fall of Troy at the end and then like the fire and everything. Mm-hmm. Just certain camera shots, it looks like that they're really like trying to show you like how practical like they're doing like certain things. Mm-hmm. But to go back, I would honestly like this is the first time watch for me, but when you go and you look at Troy and like it kind of pops up on like movie shorts and like best scenes, like honestly, like the one I've always seen is like the opening, and I didn't realize that was going to be in the first like 15 minutes of the film.
Oh yeah,
when like they decided to just bring out each of their best warriors and just have a one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And at first I was kind of like a little bit disappointed because I mean I knew what was going to happen, but I was kind of thinking like, man, maybe having him just kind of pretty much do just a one-shot stab, even though it was like super like kind of sick how he does it. I was kind of thinking like maybe they should have like shown him doing some tricks and some moves, like actually add some choreography to it. But then that's when they kind of lead up to that, when they show like his fights with Hector, like especially like at the end when he's pretty much out for blood at that point.
Yo, I love that's another highlight for me. Of course it's with Hector's character when Achilles arrives outside the gates of Troy and he's just shouting Hector. Calling him, dude,
bro.
And he's saying goodbye to all of his loved ones, and
you can
still hear him. I'm glad that they kept the audio because I wanted them to like that. Just heightened everything.
That just made it super real because you kind of like
I ain't going nowhere.
You would think that like, oh, he's just gonna stop saying it, but he's like, no, he is pissed off.
The wrath of Achilles is here.
Yeah, he is ready. And to see how he's just maneuvering his way and he's saying his goodbyes, I mean, it's kind of sad, but it's also like, damn, dude, like you fucked up. But also like, I mean, the cousin
he couldn't have known.
Yeah, he couldn't have known.
I mean, that was a great reveal when it's when they have their moment. So Hector is always kind of urged, like cautioned reason at his father's council. Always, he's talked about sending Helen back on a ship because he didn't want his countrymen to die. I love that scene where early in the movie, Paris has brought Helen aboard the ship as they're leaving Sparta after just establishing this treaty between Sparta and Troy. And when he takes him down there and he shows that Helen is their stowaway, bro, the dialogue in that scene is so good. He said, "What about the love for your country?" He said, "What about your love for your father? You spat on him when you brought her here."
Yeah.
He's like, and he gives him that line. He's like, "I'll die." He said, "That sounds very poetic. Have you ever killed anyone?" Like, like just all of that dialogue, man. It really does a great job of kind of showing us Hector's, what's the word I'm looking for? it just shows us his compass, right? He's somebody who he's the complete opposite of Achilles.
Yeah.
He's not interested in honor
He's
and
got good
glory.
morals and
He
stuff.
wants, he's not driven by honor. I don't think he's driven by glory. I think he's an honorable person. And I think that is like foundation of who he is, right? Whereas glory seeking is what is driving Achilles.
Well, I think that he kind of mentions that too, like in their like fight where he was like, you fight for honor, but I fight for my country. So it's like you kind of just see like where his moral code, I suppose, is.
Yeah, that fight scene, man, between those two was a huge highlight for me.
Bro, but man,
very well choreographed. Yeah,
I get that, which it kind of comes back around when like in this whole sequence after he fights him, and then he just ties him to like his the horses, and he drags him back to town pretty much. Dude, I was like, you didn't have to do all that to him. And then when his father like sneaks in, not Achilles' father, but Hector's father, like the king, when he sneaks in, and then he has like his like little dialogue scene with Achilles. I feel like that scene was like really well done as well, because that's when he mentions like, well, how many cousins have you killed? How many fathers have you slain, or sons or brothers have you killed? So it's like he makes it just like such a good point to like, why are you? I mean, I get you're upset that your cousin was killed, but it's like you've done a lot of murdering on your hands as well.
Yeah, and to that point, I think that there's two things I want to say. One, I think that there's some really effective somber scenes with Achilles where he's reflecting on that. Where I think it's with Patroclus where he says, at night they speak to me, all the men I've killed.
Yeah.
They say, welcome, brother. They're waiting on the river Styx. You know, there's like these moments where you can sense like there is conflict in him. And that is something that really resonated with me throughout, like his own kind of reflections on, and the way that he's trying to impart to Patroclus, like, you don't have to live this life that I have. You know, who are you going to fight for when I'm gone?
Yeah.
You know, don't waste your life following some fool's orders. He's trying to get him to see like the bigger picture. And obviously that services in Achilles' relationship with his antagonistic relationship with Agamemnon.
Yeah.
But dude, one person I really got to give a shout out to is James Horner. He did the score for this. Man, he has been involved in Glory, Apollo 13, Braveheart, and Titanic.
So, damn.
Yeah. And I think like the way that the score is used, especially in some of those moments that I was just talking about, it definitely really amps up the moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, well, he's talking about highlights. Man, another highlight for me is like just the overall performance of with Brian Cox as Agamemnon. Dude, and also just I mean, I hate to like compare it to like, but we just got the Odyssey, and just isn't his brother, was it Menelaus?
Yeah.
Isn't that supposed to be John Barenthal in the Odyssey?
I believe so,
Yeah. And so just like try to like, obviously you get more of Agamemnon in this movie. He's just kind of ore farming in the Odyssey, which he's got a great ore. I mean, that suit was pretty killer. But Brian Cox's performance and just seeing how he was just kind of obviously thirsty for power, he did a really good job. I couldn't help but laugh a little bit. I just kind of had it in my mind, but it was like the scene when like he was when they're about to like to start the charge, and he just like leaps out like a scream.
Yeah.
That shit had me dying, man. His scream was fucking hilarious. But overall, he did a fantastic job as king.
Yeah, I love the line. I was just thinking about some of the lines that are really great. Again, going back to the dialogue with Achilles and Hector when they first meet. And he said, you talk about war. Hector says to Achilles, you talk about war as though it's a game. He said, how many women will wait at gates when their husbands will never return? And Achilles says, you should have your wife comfort them. I heard he's good at charming other men's wives.
Yeah.
It's just like really just like, ooh, good line, you know?
God, fucking Paris, Orlando Bloom's character.
He nails that dislikable character so well.
Yeah.
Because, you're not supposed to like him, and fuck, I hated that character.
Dude.
Honestly, I did not. I was like, bro, a good man has died because of you.
Well, dude, Hector, first, like, you sneak this woman onto your boat, and so, like, now you're just starting a war for no fucking reason over this woman. But then, even when, like, he's like, okay, I will just nominate myself for the one-on-one battle, and he's getting his ass owned. And then your brother comes in and fucking saves the day, and like that doesn't solve anything because that just broke the pact.
Bro, you shamed yourself in front of your whole community, literally.
Yeah,
they were all there, and your new bitch.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Oh no,
you're just fucking up.
That is an L if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, he's just fucking up left and right, causing all this shit, countless lives, and then he still ends up living at the end. His brother dies. Well, I guess does he die? Orlando Bloom?
No, he
Okay,
kills Achilles.
Yeah,
that's me too. I was like, this motherfucker.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he shoots the arrows through. I'm like, oh,
yo,
God.
You know what's actually a crazy but true story? He actually tore his Achilles when he was filming.
Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt did.
Really?
For this role.
Wow.
Yeah, like it actually set obviously like during filming it set the schedule back, but he got ripped for this role, man. He got in great shape. I would say I think he did like 6 months of training, I read. And he did he and Eric Bana did their own stunts. And so injuries were pretty common on set. Not just for like it was not a freak occurrence for guys to have bruises from like or be limping like on set, because these were actually like pretty grueling scenes that they were shooting. The action sequences, I mean.
Well, I mean, their fight scene is pretty well done, like whether it's well choreographed and well shot. I mean, they did a good job with that.
And the dialogue between them, even when they're fighting,
Man, I'm thinking of obviously Brad Pitt is such an iconic actor, man. I mean, and I'm sure and you already kind of gave me a little bit of a spoiler-ish where you said this was going to get a high score from you. Would you put this as a top 3, top 5 like Brad Pitt film for you? I mean, he's got a good list. I mean, he's got even F1 was really well done. Mr. and Mrs. Smith was fun. 7, Bullet Train, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Inglourious Basterds, Moneyball. Got the start in Thelma and Louise.
It's classic. I don't think it's top 3. You said.
I mean, where would Troy rank among like your favorite Brad Pitt films?
It's top 10. I would say top 10. I mean, for me, man, dude, like just off top, man, 7. I do like Interview with the Vampire was a banger. I like Legends of the Fall, bro. I ain't gonna hold you, man. 12 Monkeys was a good movie. That was I saw that later, but that's actually pretty cool sci-fi.
Got the Ocean movies.
Ocean's 11 is a classic. Fight Club. And then it gets a little thin, and then you get Troy. I would say Curious Case of Benjamin Button, definitely one of my favorites.
Is that a good movie?
Bro, I love that movie. It's I don't know if a lot of people feel that way, but it's a slept-on movie in David Fincher's filmography, and I think it's a slept-on movie, period. But I mean, yeah, it's one of my favorites. World War Z was good. I don't know, man. I'm thinking off top, probably 7. I would say 7 is going to be on there. I would say, I think next I would say Curious Case of Benjamin Button. And then, I mean, dude, he even did Inglourious Basterds, which I'm not the biggest fan of. That's like my favorite Tarantino, but I mean, it's a classic movie. Fuck, man.
Dude, I would probably, Troy for me would go in that 5 to 10 range. It's top 10, but like 7, Fight Club, even F1, Inglourious Basterds, Bullet Train.
Bullet Train is a banger, dude.
Fury, Moneyball. Like, so that's 7 right there.
Another good one. It's definitely in my top 10.
Yeah, it's in the top 10. Dude, even like this new movie that's coming out with him, it's called Heart of the Beast, with him and this dog, and like they're just kind of like going, like they survive like this plane crash, and it just kind of looks like an interesting movie, but it's just like, it looks like him and the dog, and they're just encountering some stuff like in their journey back to safety. But it looks kind of interesting because they showed that trailer at the beginning of maybe Spider-Man, I want to say recently that I saw. But that looks like a fun movie. Obviously got that movie that we kind of talked about earlier on a previous episode with Adventures of Cliff Booth.
Oh yeah, with David Fincher, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But Troy that would be at least top 10. Yeah,
it's absolutely top 10.
It's going to range probably in that 5 to 10 ranking though.
Yeah.
Not quite top 5, but 5 to 10.
Yeah, I was just saying, I'm down to pivot scores if you are.
Yeah, I'm down. Did you have any negatives you want to talk about that stand out?
I think It's not a negative for me, but I think that people will criticize. I think a common criticism about this movie was it felt melodramatic, and it does at times. But if I'm invested in the story and the characters, I don't mind a little bit of that. I mean, fuck, I love the movie The Killer with John Woo and Chow
Mm-hmm.
Yun-fat. That movie's very melodramatic with a love story.
Yeah.
And not to mention the endless ammo, which I don't even care about. I really don't care if you had endless ammo. I don't care. I love these
He
fucking
used the
gun
cheat
scenes.
code. He used the cheat code. That's all you need to know. He hit up, down, left, right, A, B, A, B.
But yeah, I don't mind the melodrama in this movie. I think the acting. I do like Sean Bean's acting as Odysseus. I like the scenes with him and Achilles. But I'm trying. I mean, outside of, I think this movie is really carried by Brad Pitt and Eric Bana.
Yeah.
When the camera's not on them, I'm like, all right, when are we getting back?
Yeah.
Because sometimes the scenes with Paris, and I get it, it's foundational to the story and to the war with him and Helen. But yeah, I was just so annoyed with that character. I was like, come on, man, let's get back to it, dude. But yeah, that said, I don't really have a lot of negatives about this movie. I think that it does. I think it's a really fun interpretation of this story.
Yeah. I mean, for me, if I had a negative, it would probably be just like the runtime. I mean, to see like once I like popped it on, I noticed it was like shit, damn near like it was over 2.5 hours at 2:43. I was like, holy moly! I thought this was going to be like a 2:15 or something like that. And I feel like they could have maybe trimmed down though. Like, I mean, some of like the like romance scenes with like him and what's her name, Rose Byrne's character, Briseis. Yeah, some of them just kind of felt like just a little bit long, just because we're just like, obviously we got to build up this romance and to show why he's got disdain towards Agamemnon. Like once like he kind of takes her away and all that type of stuff. Like he's getting whipped too, just like Paris did. Just like, oh my God, you just found like a nice piece of tail and now you just want to throw it all away. But they could have maybe trimmed down maybe something where along the lines but it did feel like obviously we're still getting the fall of Troy at the end with like the famous Trojan horse and the sneak in scene and the battle. But when Eric Bana's character does die, there feel like there is like a little bit of a stab to the story, just a little bit.
It definitely does,
because we're losing such a good character. Like once he perishes and you get the funeral scene with him.
That's true, but thankfully it's a very quick pivot. Because from there, we're to the Trojan horse.
Yeah.
But I thought the visuals of that were fun. I thought it worked for me. And yeah, I mean.
But I do wonder, like, with seeing him, that he was in the Trojan horse, like, I kind of wonder why Nolan didn't, like, want to put him in the Odyssey as well.
Achilles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to see, obviously, they had, like, Achilles and Odysseus had, like, some sort of friendship and whatnot. Because they even shot a scene with him. I mean, yeah, it's a different movie and whatnot, but just to see him at the funeral as well of Achilles. So I kind of like if I would ask like Nolan a question, I would kind of ask why he wouldn't want to include Achilles in like that story. But other than that, that would be a conversation for a different day. But I think I'm ready to pivot to scores if you are.
All right, man. I'll kick us off.
Go for it.
For me, this is a 4. I love this movie. It's very rewatchable. The action scenes and the set pieces really work for me. I think that some of the action sequences when they're storming the beach of Troy, even the one-on-one fight scenes, it just really works for me on a lot of the different levels. I think the co-leads of both Eric Bana and Brad Pitt, huge highlight. I think this movie it's probably underappreciated, even at this point. Here we are, 22 years later, and it still really hits for me. So I definitely recommend checking this out or revisiting it if you haven't seen it. Yeah, pass it to you.
I think it serves as a nice, good hors d'oeuvre if you're doing like a little Odyssey Iliad night at the house.
Yeah.
It would you can pop on Troy first, and then you can watch the Odyssey second. I feel like that's a nice little 2-piece right there.
Yeah, or even before the Odyssey drops, you can do a 2-piece with Troy then Gladiator. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think the Odyssey is better than the Gladiator.
Oh, really?
Gladiator, bro.
Oh, bro, I would take Odyssey over. I mean, might be recency bias,
Oh
but
man,
I had so much fun in that movie.
I
I gotta take.
I think this. Oh man, dude, Maximus's story is just
He's the better
it's
lead
so good,
over
and he
Odysseus.
definitely is the better lead. I
Yeah,
agree with you, but I was just thinking more from a picture standpoint, just like this kind of tragedy. This fucking ancient. I just thought about them because they're both, they're supposed to take place in the ancient world.
I mean, Joaquin was a good
I need to sit
villain.
with Odyssey more before I can confidently say I have that. I like that
Yeah,
more than because I mean I think that's Ridley Scott at close to his peak.
I mean, and you're getting such an iconic villain with Joaquin Phoenix. I mean,
Oh my god.
all the memes that movie has birthed already. So it has his social media like thumbprint on it, but
It's not as epic for sure. I think epic
mm-hmm.
we're really talking about. I mean something more sprawling. This is you know this feels not really. I mean even Troy doesn't feel epic like that.
Yeah.
I mean it's a major it's an ancient historical drama, action drama, right? But
Mm-hmm.
epic feels like I don't know.
I feel like
I
they
guess
try
how
to
do
make
you?
it epic in like how they choose like some of like their shots. Like you said, like how they're showing like the scope of like certain scenes. I feel like that's where they were trying to make it feel like something epic is taking place.
I mean, I guess technically it would be an epic. I guess the scale of Odyssey is so much larger because it's covering so much time
Yeah.
and a lot of different, as well as a lot of different POVs.
Yeah. I
Um,
would say like too like in Odyssey, at least just comparing the two with Odyssey and Troy, like it feels like the time I suppose like goes by a little bit longer in Odyssey compared to Troy, but like it's hard to like try to because like weren't they like the war lasted for like 10 years? Weren't they
yeah,
outside of there for 10 years? So like
yeah.
it didn't like quite feel like they're like that army was out there for 10 years like in this movie, but like
Running low on supplies.
because then they only say like it was like 12 days later. It's like 12 days. That's it. But I'm going with a 3.5 for me.
Okay.
Because it's on the first time watch. The movie is very enjoyable. Like I said, with Brad Pitt, Eric Bana's characters, with like how they meet up in the final battle at the end. Not the
Definitely.
final battle, but seeing like their 1-on-1, and even earlier when like they're kind of meeting up in like this
The
area of
temple.
the temple,
Yeah.
and but like they don't. Brad Pitt doesn't want to fight just because he's like nobody would witness it, and
Yeah.
so like you just also get a look at like his character and his ego a little bit
Right.
where
It's too late in the day for killing princes.
exactly. And if I'm going to kill a prince, I want there to be an audience. So,
And did he get it?
oh yeah, but like how he shows up bloodthirsty. I mean, you're getting some great action scenes, like some great camera shots. Like they said, they're trying. I feel like they're trying to make it feel like I said, like with like showing like the set design and showing like how like the fire and the ships and stuff. They're making you feel like it's like something big is happening. But and also you're getting Ned Stark as Odysseus. I feel like he was a solid Odysseus for the role he was given. But I have to like you said, like let it sit maybe a little bit for longer for me to see how long I'll actually go back to it. Because if I go back to it, there's going to be some parts that I definitely fast forward. Just like some of the romance scenes can be just like a little bit. I don't want to say too much, but it's just kind of like, all right, I get it, I get it. You're in love, you're in
Let's wrap it
love.
up.
Yeah, let's get it going here with the story. I don't need to see you guys just loving each other longingly.
I feel
And,
that. I mean, yeah. Some folks like it. They just are you. Would you say you're not a fan of that in general? Because some people just like
no, like if it's like if you have to like it's a
fucking
part of the narrative. Yeah, it's a and like are you getting naked or not? If it's part of like the narrative, obviously like you have to show like these characters are in love when it's like part of like trying to push like certain like characters motives and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to hammer it home. Like you can just send the message received. I don't need to get like all right, you don't need to do multiple scenes
For sure.
of like just like the like showing them romance and like oh I'm gonna miss you, like you don't have to fight, let's just run away.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to see too many of those. And like if I went back to this, there's going to be some moments, and also you're getting it with Brad Pitt's character, you're getting it with Eric Bana's character, so it could also feel like maybe you're just getting too much of it just with multiple people going on.
Yeah.
But overall, enjoyable film, great action. I would definitely rewatch it. Top 10 Brad Pitt film for me. I mean, the 5 to 10 range, but overall, solid movie, man.
All right. Well, that wraps up our episode for this week. Stay tuned. We'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.